Okay. Well, thank you, everybody. Welcome, and good to have you in my shop. My name is Todd Rains. I am the owner, along with my wife, Shelley, of the Woodturning tool store. And we are here in Allen, Texas, in my shop, and back Friday at 2:30 for my live stream, streaming to Facebook and YouTube. So, and glad to have everybody here. We got a few people joining, which is nice. Thank you very much. Um, we are kind of back to kind of operating the way we were a few weeks ago. We experimented the last couple of weeks, and not something. Yeah. Anyway, it's just myself in here today, and we're just going to wait for your guys' comments and stuff. So, Mike, thanks very much. My day's going pretty good so far. We'll see how the next hour transpires. It should be even better, I think. So, thanks for joining. Tony, good to see you here again. It's nice to have my Texas friends here. So, hope to see you soon, and we'll see you in about 6 weeks. I guess at AAW, so that's going to be fun. So, let's see. Mike was responding to my reply. Doing good, so that's good. Nice, rainy, cool day out. So yeah, we're nice and warm, probably about 78, 80 degrees, and sunny. Very nice. Philip, good to have you here. Thank you for joining this evening. I know it's evening over where you are, so good to have you here. Thank you for joining. And yeah, so the weather's nice. It's actually kind of cool in the shop today. I had the AC on, so maybe a bit too much, but I'm actually wearing shorts in the shop today, so maybe that's why I'm a little cooler. So it's kind of nice to be here and to be able to have an environment where I can enjoy wood turning comfortably. So if you have your own workshops and you're thinking of what upgrade to do, if you can do it and you can manage it, highly recommend, if you need it, to put in some temperature control, air conditioning, heater, whatever you need. So it makes it bearable in the times you need it. So today, let's see, we've got yeah. So Tony's saying, yeah, we're looking forward to AEW. So are we? Mike's going to be there. Great to have that connection, be able to see people in person again. Chris, thanks for joining. Good to see you here again. It's not been too long, a few hours since we spoke last, so that's good. Oh yeah, I guess Mike said AWW, meant AAW. Yes. Anyway, so if you're not seeing the comments I'm showing, if you see that Chris's comment on the screen there down below here, it's got the little F for Facebook. So Chris is joining on Facebook, and others may be joining on YouTube. So you'll notice you may not see all the comments where you're streaming or where you're watching the stream from, but I get them all consolidated here. So I think I might be having a few connections with one of my Facebook profile page. I'm not sure if all the comments are coming through there or not. I'll have to see, but we've got people on my Woodturning Tool Store Facebook page. So good to have those folks here. Tim, good to have you here. Thank you for joining. Good to have you join us here today. Hope your travels went well. So we'll hopefully see you as well at AAW. I know it's kind of close to your neck of the woods. So, well, maybe not close, but closer than mine probably. So we shall see and get to see everybody again at AAW. So it'll be very fun. Oh, well, look who's in the house. Joe, good to have you here. A little bit of hooky from work there. So glad you could join us between conference calls or whatever you're working on. So good to see you, my friend. Thank you for joining. And my wife is on saying happy Friday, everyone. So thank you, Shelley. Appreciate it. And so yeah, here we go. Today, it's just us in the house. Last couple of weeks, Cindy and I have kind of cooperated trying to operate StreamYard, and it's just, I think, easier if it's just a single person operation. It takes a bit of time to of other person's time, and I don't want to waste other people's time when they got stuff to do. She's off on a bike ride in the mountains of Colorado right now, so wishing her all the best and safety in her staycation of bike riding. So I am going to talk a little bit about something we had planned. Our local club had planned a bowl challenge, and unfortunately, oops, I clicked the wrong one. Sorry, it moved on me. Lee is in the house. Lee, thank you for joining from Alabama. Appreciate it, my friend. Good to have you here. And so this bowl challenge was supposed to be sort of a picnic in the park thing in May 21st. We had to cancel it. The park apparently has some reservation issues or whatever, so we're going to do that in the fall. But it got me thinking a couple of days ago about how one would participate in a bowl challenge. The idea is to create in a team of two, sort of as many bowls and good quality bowls, because they'll be judged quickly. And so it's sort of a production test, I guess you would say. I'm not a production turner. I don't crank out bowls that quickly. So, but it was a good challenge to maybe think about how best to mount a bowl so that you spent the least amount of time fixing the bowl on the lathe. So I had a couple ideas in my head, and so I'm going to try and show that. And along the way, take a look at a couple of things that you might try, or maybe and maybe you can share with me if you're a production bowl turner, or produce a number of bowls and you have a certain way of doing it, certain pair of centers, a certain methodology for chucking or whatever it is. Throw that in the chat, and we can talk about those as well. Lyle Jameson had a ABC's of Bowls demo on Wednesday, which unfortunately I missed. But he's got his methodology of doing bowls where it's all on a faceplate and glue block. So so there's those methods, and then the checking methods as well. So let's talk a little bit about that. I'm just going to let the chat kind of scroll a little bit. People are saying hi. Jack Jecker's here from was that Victoria, Texas? Good to have you here, Jack. I appreciate it. And thank you for the kind words and your feedback on the oval box class. Appreciate that. Saw that today or yesterday. So let's take a look at what is on the lathe. We have a couple of chucks and a bowl blank that I actually had partially started. This was going to be part of my one of my bowl and bowl classes or demos, but we'll use it here today. I've got two chucks. What I'm thinking about is not having to change chucks or jaws or anything, and using the right chuck in a certain situation. I don't know if this is the right way, but this is the way I thought about what I want to show with the two different chucks is the jaws and the depth of the jaws. So one of the ways I was thinking about is let's turn a foot on the bowl once with a chucking point and a finished foot, so that we don't have to reverse it and take the tenon off and all that stuff. So we put it one way to do the foot and do the chucking center, put it the other way and hollow it out, and we're done. So that's the idea. Saves one, the last reversal to take the tenon off. So I want a deep jaw, and if we take a look, this has kind of got about, well, let's not say about, let's just go ahead and get the ruler out and we'll measure. We have 3/8, or is that almost half inch? Almost a half inch deep jaw there. Or was it going to be 16? No, sorry, 13 millimeters. In that one, that's the excuse me, the Vic Mark with standard 2-inch jaws. This is the Axminster SK114 with the C jaws, and these guys are pretty shallow. So these are like maybe 3/8 or what's that, 8 millimeters? Yeah, maybe 7-8 millimeters. So pretty shallow. So in order to get a foot in there, it has to be a very shallow foot. So I think these are going to be better for the chucking of the foot. And I'm going to have this out to create the first chucking point. So I guess the way I'd go about this is is kind of we're going to start this challenge with, just bare raw blanks, hopefully rounded. And again, I realize this isn't happening this spring or this May, but we are going to sort of pretend that it is, and kind of talk a little bit about this and about these methodologies or process, I guess. So if you got any questions along the way, please post them in your comment section, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube, and we'll try and address them here today. If not, I'll go through and look at them afterwards and see if there's anything. So I've got just some Sorby step centers on here, using those because that's what I had originally roughed this bowl out or blank out with. And I'm putting it this way to pretend that it's basically a bowl blank, and I haven't turned anything around yet. So I'm put it on this way because I'm going to put a chucking point here to hold it, so I can do the foot, and then I'll have to turn it around one more time. So it is kind of 3 flipping. But I just want to see how this works, to see whether this is something that we can manage. If in this sort of competition setting that we're thinking of doing is teams of 2 each have a lathe, so one person could be roughing like this, setting this tenon joint, and then the other person could be turning around, getting the foot all set, and then back and forth on the final checking point. So I need my face shield. So we're going to put a quick tenon on which is going to be the inside of the bowl here. And what do I got on? That is not set up properly, so let me toggle it off. Let me what is that? Okay, hang on. I got output multi-view. There we go. Let's go there, home, and set up this one. Bear with me as I that'll be pretty good. I think that's focused pretty good. So I'll set that up like that. So we'll have a checking point here, just a temporary one. It's going to be the inside of the bowl eventually. But I thought, well, let's see how that works. And then we'll look at the tenoning, or the final foot setting. So this should be fairly balanced because I did have it on the lathe before. Turn the power down, turn the power on. Yeah, it's rotating pretty well. So I got to mark out. I've set this up as the tenon size on this Vicmark, not the Vicmark, the Axminster chuck. Is that right? No, that's not right. Oh, that's the wrong set of calipers. I got 2 sets of calipers out here. These ones are set up, so these are the ones I want to use for marking this guy out. And let me just move this over a little bit, kind of see what I'm doing. A little bit more speed. So I'm going to mark the one side, not the other. That gives me a general idea. Darken that up a little bit. And I'm just going to take my caliper. So that's a bit small, but that's about right. So we're going to make our tenon right about there. So we'll take a small gouge. We got a little 1/2-inch gouge. I hadn't sharpened anything since my last demo, so we'll see how sharp these are and get on with it. So let's see. Oh, Chris is saying the blanks were not going to be rounded. So Chris is part of our club. He's on our board. So, okay, so we'd go from square to round, or rough to round. Bandsaw rough, I'd imagine. Hopefully not chainsaw rough, but we'll see. So good to know. We can plan for either one. It just means that we'll spend more time trying to get that come off there. There we go. Just means we'd probably spend more time on between centers, rounding this guy out and balancing it and stuff like that. So, and each round was supposed to be 45 minutes, so it's not a lot. You could probably get a couple of bowls done in that time frame. So I'm going to just take some a nice landing platform there. I realize these jaws aren't that deep, so that might be as deep as I need to get. And let's see if we got. Oh, wait, I got right here. I don't know if I can get my. I don't know if I can get on a right angle to get that negative rake scraper, aka skew, in there at the right angle, but that'll probably do. So we've got a tenon here. We've got a flat, very small flat right there, and we got some torn up grain around it. No big deal. But I do see that I have kind of a hump here, and that may get in the way of the bottom of the jaws. So I'm going to need to take that down a little bit. So let's see if we can mount that. And I'm just going to do it right here on the lathe bed, just to see if we've got a grip. Open that up. Can't see under there. We do. Not quite the grip. I was thinking I was having a hard time seeing down in there. It's grabbing onto the right place, but these jaws are a lot wider than standard jaws. What I mean, I'll show you here in a second. They're a lot broader across here, so I'm kind of interfering on this edge here, so to grab in there. So I just need to clear a bit more here, out here a little bit, make this area relieve it off a bit, so these fat jaws here can fit in there. So let's just do that. Move that out of the way. So this is good. Good to know ahead of time. Ahead of a wheel that back in a little bit. It's out there a ways. I wiggle it around so those serrated teeth of the points of the step centers seat back into their little pockets. And let's do a little bit more. This is actually where a good 40-40 gouge would probably be helpful. Do I have one out? The 40-40 gouge will get me a little bit better attack angle on where I need to be. There's one, and this will allow me to push in here a bit easier. To clear stuff, and I'll just kind of make it a bit more clear where that landing pad is. That should be plenty of room there. For us to grab onto that tenon. It still looks good. Let's go ahead and mount this guy, and then we'll see about doing the back end. We have a question from Tim. He's asking, what is the live center in your tailstock? So let me get that out for you. It's here. It's a Sorby step center, live center. And it's got a matching drive center on the other side. So, yeah, I had about 3 inches sticking out in the quill just to give my tool rest room, give my dust collection hood, which I didn't use, room. So there it is there. I'll get the mating part out from the headstock. Oh, too many wires. Hang on. There we go. So you can see, Tim, they're kind of a matching set. They're both about 1/2-inch tips. They're both kind of serrated with those steb centers. They both got a retractable point. It's hard to show because I poke myself, but that pin is spring loaded. And so that means if I mount it this way, the same pattern is going to be on the back side here as on the front side. So you're able to kind of reverse fairly easily with these guys if you need to. So, and they hold pretty good. So drop those down there and put this chuck on. This one I'm not too concerned about, the actual fit of the, this is this key. There it is. Of the tenon. And by that, I mean I'm not too worried about why. Oh, it is wide open. There we go. Not too concerned with how much gap there is here. On this side, I will be a lot more concerned about that. So now I want to be a bit more precise on the tenon here. Let me take this comment down, sorry. Thank you, Tim. I like those. Can we order this? No, so I don't carry those, Tim, unfortunately. It's a Sorby product. You can get those. Just search Google. I think Craft Supplies. I think has been back ordered for a long time. Packard might have them. I think Amazon had them, and those get supplied through Tay Tools. Don't know them, but yeah. What was I saying? Okay, yeah. So the tenon back here, which we're gonna do on our final chuck here, is gonna. I want that a bit more precise. I want that to be pretty exacting in terms of its fit. So again, a set of calipers set to the precise dovetail. We'll mark that out, be a little bit more precise. Since we have it here, we can, put the chuck on there, make sure it fits nicely while it's still mounted on this chuck. So it's nice to have a couple of different chucks. Somebody was asking about the chuck I used on my oval box demo, and that was this other Axminster chuck with the O'Donnell jaws and the 3-in-1 set. So that's a nice set of jaws and chucks as well. So again, I don't carry those Axminster chucks, but I do like them. So we're just going to clean this bottom off now. We're done with that point center, that center. So let's drop that back down. I'm just going to double check. It's not going anywhere. Should have done that before I turned the speed up, but I was pretty certain it was fine. 1800 RPM. Get our caliper. Get a little closer. And raise up to center. And mark. And estimate. And let me change that back again. Oh, I'm just not marking very well. I got to sharpen my points. This point is getting a little dull, but I think that is the mark. There. Let's double check. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So that's where I want to be for a tenon. And that tenon is going to be a decorative foot. So we can hollow this out a little bit. We're going to, put a little cove and maybe in here as a foot. And then we've got, like I said, about a 1/2 inch's worth of tenon to work with in here as a foot. So I don't do this a whole lot. So this is kind of me experimenting a little bit and figuring things out, just as anybody would in their shops. So let's see where we at. All right, so let's sort of, we'll push this meat in to kind of expose the tenon first, and then we'll see what we're going to work with and how we're going to grip. I have this idea of just a small cove and a foot, and the top of the cove being a fillet. That's actually going to be a slight dovetail, very small one, very subtle, to grab this bowl. So that's the plan. Let's see how that executes. Just trying to get sort of a bowl shape so that I can kind of visualize things. Just trying to think how this is going to go. Okay, so I am creating a little tenon, but it's the end of that tenon that's going to be the, and I'll put that in overhead, tighten that up a little bit. Kind of see what I'm doing from the top side. So the end of that tenon is really where the dovetail needs to sit. And I'm just going to stop this and just take a quick look. Open this up just a bit. Okay, that's still a bit big. Ouch. It's a heavy chunk. Okay, so that's open quite a bit. You can see the jaws are open too far, so I've got room to play. At the right spot where I kind of want to be. We're going to make a little foot pad on the inside of that tenon, and then a little hollow in the middle. So let's work on that, and then we can always waste away wood and for figure out how we're going to do this. So let me put that about there. Yeah, so we'll just level this out a little bit. I don't want to make it too hollow or too much of a big difference. I'm going to go reverse. I'm going to do that with a smaller gouge. This is a little spindle gouge just to kind of get a nice kind of clean cut, make it somewhat of a clean shape in there. So we got the bit of a bottom there, and now create a little foot, and then on the outside, I'll make this a little bit deeper. Just a little bit of a cove detail, flatten that foot out. And now we got to figure out where that is again. We'll just grab our calipers and see we're right at the end of that cove. That might have to come in just a little bit. And by that I mean a little bit less diameter on that circle there. So ends there. And now we can do this a couple of different ways. I've got this, and a couple of tools. We've got a little skew. We can make a little groove in there, a little dovetail right in there. I've got this little scraper type tool. I have been kind of prototyping. I haven't really shown this one at all, but it's basically a scraper that's less than 90 degrees. This point is about 72. The inside of jaws are probably about 77 degrees. And so if we take that and make this one parallel or perpendicular to the bed ways, that's going to create that little dovetail in there, as well as making this area flat. So let's see what happens when we try and get that jaw on there, that chuck. I might have made it too small, in which case we'll have to try again. There we go. Not too small. It's just maybe a little bit too big. And I can go a little bit deeper. I've got quite a bit of room there inside the jaws. If we just take that off, go overhead, you can see, put the light through there. You can see the gap there. You can see the bottom of the foot and where we're sitting. So I've got a good, I don't know, the 4 or 5 millimeters worth of tenon depth I could have if I so desired. But that is a pretty good fit. This reminds me of a demo by Phil Irons. He's very big on a very good fitting tenon, where the minimum opening distance of your jaws are at. So I'm going to make that a bit deeper. Can I do that? Will it interfere with anything? No, it will be good. Use a bowl gouge and just kind of take that kind of up to the line. We'll take our little scraping tool, which is not the not a negative rake scraper by any means, but it's not a very strong tenon. We're going to play with it and see how it goes. This may not be the best approach, but let's just kind of put some shape on the bowl so we kind of know where we're at. I still got some interrupted cuts happening there. Use my other gouge. I'm just a bit more used to this. I do need to sharpen these gouges. It's a subtle curve there. All right. Do I leave this rim? Maybe I do. Widen that a little bit. Got some bug dust in there, but otherwise not a bad little bowl. It's got a little bit of recurve. I got to fix that curve a little bit. That's better. I can do a little bit of shear scraping. I'm just setting up my teardrop cutter 1 second. There we go. Knock this out a little bit. Right into the cove here. Just a little bit of shear scraping left to do up in this little corner. And I can get it at a fairly steep angle here if I into that little corner. That's feeling good. All right. I think we add a little bit of embellishment right down in there. And maybe one in here. Scrape that flat again. A little fuzz build up there. And go ahead and sand everything. I'm not going to do that. We'll just leave this bowl raw. And then we are, what chuck key is that one? That is this one. It's the problem with having multiple chucks is you've got multiple keys and you got to figure out which one you're using. Oh, Michael's here. Good to have you here, Michael. Michael says, happy Friday, Todd, Shelley, Mike, D, Philip, Joe, Jack, everybody. Good to have you here, Michael. We are just trying to do a little bit of a tenon included in a foot bowl turning, and it is just a experiment. If I see if I can figure out a good way to make bowls quickly. So we got a nice little, that's the right one. A little tenon. Might be a little small for this bowl, especially this dry wood, but it's going to hold just fine. It's going to create some indents. So it's not exactly as close as I wonder if I can just grab this for a quick second and see if I can't fix that. This is even better. Just do it all in one chuck. So that's what I'll do. See how true this turns. Pretty good. I'll be happy with that. So that's another clue. Let's just use one chuck for the whole thing. What I do is tighten that or reduce that tenon just ever so slightly to make it fit the chuck better. So you have to recut a few things here on the foot, and as the experiment goes, we'll be fine. That should do it. Then maybe what I'll do is I don't really like that big platform there, but I've got a opportunity to make a bead form here. To kind of disguise the sort of tenon area, if you will. I'll leave that crisp. So a bit too much decoration down here, I think, for my liking, but it's all good experiments. And one last cleanup on that little guy. All right, looks okay. Looks okay for experimenting and playing. So we got a few minutes to finish off the inside. I gotta find that key again. Now we're closing quite a bit closer. There, I realized I didn't change the camera there. So when I open that up, it's able to turn quite easily. Just a quick short turn and it's locked in place. So that's going to tell me that the jaws of the chuck shouldn't leave any marks on the foot. And maybe we go to that one that way. Put that in overhead. All right, so done with that. Done with that. All right, I'm not sure how much I'm going to hollow out of this guy, but we'll get a little bit done. And we'll see how well that tenon holds. I am going to do one thing. I'm going to clean off that edge first. And just put a little chamfer on that edge. So I don't hurt myself. As I'm making that cut, I'm looking down the outside of the form and the inside of the form to make sure, because I know I got a much wider rim than I do down here, so something to be aware of. And I don't think I'll make this too small a bowl. I'm not going to make it really thin. It does have some structural issues right there, so we'll leave it a little thicker. Nice clean cut. I'm good with that. Transition bump right there. Just look at that little bump right there. Shoot. Might be too late. So it's important that I beveled that edge because my hand is getting close here. So I don't want to be slicing my palm open, back of my hand open. So, and we're just about done with this bowl. And I need a sharper gouge, but this is what I got right now. So a lot of bounce there. So this wood seems to be moving quite a bit. we're going to see if this other end is sharp enough. It's a double-ended, this is a master cut gouge. And this back end is the bottom of the bowl gouge. Very steeply cut angle, so much sharper. Just a little bit difficult to figure out because I haven't used it in a while, so no, it's not bad. All right, we'll go for that. And lastly, a little bit of shear scraping. We'll put on a fresh edge. And we'll do this unhandled. Don't need a lot of pressure with this. There we go. I think one last. That's pretty good. It's got a little tear out there. I don't know if I can. Should have looked at that before I did anything, but. It's a lot better. And just this. Radius that edge so it's a bit more comfortable for people to hold. So I think I learned what to do is just use one chuck. So use the one chuck here, put a temporary tenon in the front, stick it on there, finish the bottom, make a foot that's going to survive, a chucking point, and turn the inside. So 2 times chucking. So let's see, does that kind of show up a little bit? There's the bottom. I don't like the bottom. Not really a fan of the design. We'll figure that out, but shape is all right. It's got a little OG in here, a little curve in here, a slight curve in the rim, and then just a nice bowl shape in the bottom. No sanding. So we'll take that Thursday night, Chris. You guys can take a look. How's that sound? All right. So the one thing I wanted to finish up with was this little cutter that I am experimenting with, and it is for cutting, specifically cutting the inside of dovetails. And so if I look at this guy, and we there we go, reverse that. Oh, get the hold off there. There we go. 0. This little cutting tip is 74 degrees, 73.8. So if I look at my dovetail on my chuck, those are typically 78, but this gives you a little bit of wiggle room to play. What am I going to do with my chuck key? All right. Which one of you guys laid it down somewhere and didn't put it up here? That's not where it goes, Todd. If we look at this chuck here, is that going to work? Oh, wrong way. Yeah, that's close enough. Look at the angle down in there. That's pretty close. It gives you a little bit of wiggle room to creating that sort of chuck tenon. So if you want to make yourself a little scraper cutter to do that, or use a scrap scraper. So this is the recess cutter I made. I've got another one of these old hardwood scrapers from Sowerby. What I could do is just change that to that sort of profile and make myself, that's upside down. I make this side, the short side is really here, meant to be the bottom, and the long side to be the actual dovetail. So I hold it, when I hold it, and I got to go to overhead. When I hold it for cutting, I hold this edge parallel or perpendicular, sorry, to the bedways, so that this side gets the dovetail. That way I can kind of rock it this way to kind of change that dovetail, cut in the dovetail, rock it flat to create that flat. So that's why it's not fully 77 degrees or 78 degrees as a dovetail. What is it, a 15, 18 degree dovetail or 12 degree dovetail, 15 or 12 degree dovetail in there. So 78 to 75 to 78 degrees. Gives you a bit of wiggle room to it there. So take your old scrap tool and make your own. That would be a good way to go. The one I'm using here today, this little one, is, as I said, still an experiment. So that is, well, let's see. I'm just backing up. Oh, Scott Hampton, good to have you here. Thank you for joining. And I think that might wrap up today's live stream. So how to create a bowl in 2 chucking points, between centers, obviously rounded out, and then temporary chuck, permanent chucking point, or temporary tenon, permanent tenon as a foot. And I can get a bit more elegant with that, I think, a bit more experimentation. But for a bowl turning challenge, I think that might do the trick. So we'll see. But that'll be fun. We'll look forward to that in the fall. So with all that said, and a bunch of dust here and shavings on the floor, I'm going to say good afternoon, good evening to everybody, and thank you for joining. This is, I didn't even put up any banners, so let me just quickly do that for a quick second. So I do this, and let me just throw that up while I'm talking about it. So take a look at our wood turning tool store. Some of the other tools I'm using you can find there. I do this every Friday at 2:30. Hopefully, there may be a few Fridays missing here as we prep for AAW and stuff like that. Post your questions, and hopefully I'll have answers, or we'll all have answers in the chat and the comments as we go through. Obviously, this one's pretty much done, but if you have something afterwards, throw them in the comments, and hopefully I'll see those. So next week, Cindy's got a live stream herself on the 12th, which I'm not sure what kind of day that is. It might be a Thursday, I think. So check that out, and she'll be live from her Facebook and YouTube channels. Other than that, I think I am all done for today. So thanks very much, everybody, for joining. This is Todd Rains at Woodturning Tool Store. We'll see you next Friday. Happy Friday, happy weekend. Everybody take care and enjoy yourselves. Happy turning. Bye-bye.